Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. so, yeah, I was supposed to have a guest on tonight, but um, we'll see what happens. So, hope everybody's doing well. Hope you guys can hear me okay. So, just ran a little bit late. I was doing a few things, getting ready for the show, but you know how it goes. Hey, Kevin, how you doing? Good to hear. Good to hear. So yeah, I was just like I said, I was working on a few things, so changed up a few things in here. So you know me, I'm always changing stuff up. I was gonna cuss, but I won't. I'm good, Amy. How are you doing? Hey, Carl. Hey, Gainer. Hey, Karen. Hey, Karen. Don't work too hard. You're like me. I do things while I'm working, also multitask. Hey, Regina. How you doing? Oh, wow, that's awesome, Kevin. Yeah, Carl. Doing good. Hope you're doing well also. We're thinking about you. Hey, Christina, how you doing? Yeah, I changed up a few things in here, so went back to my basically my old setup. So yeah, it's all good. I don't know what's going on with that, but oh well. Uh, huh. Hopefully the compressor's working okay. Yeah, it looks like it's working all right. Let me see. I don't know. Just trying to adjust this. All right. Yeah, looks like that's might be a little bit better. Um, let's try it now. No, I think it's okay. Um, check. All right. Let me know if I'm too loud so I can just adjust it a little bit more, but I think we're okay. Think the levels are good. Um, okay. I'll wait for you to get back, Carl. I have a bunch of things to talk about. So, hey, Rachel, welcome back. Glad you made it. It's good to see you as always. Hey, Bobby Joe, how you doing? Yeah, I think that's all good. Yeah, I just I swapped out a few things, so made a I made a bunch of improvements basically. So this mic is amazing. Same mic I've had before, and then I tried the new mic. I wasn't real happy, so I went back to my old setup. Um, as you guys know, I'm always switching things around, so always trying something new. I know the black shirt's kind of weird because I kind of blend in with everything in the background. So I don't know if a black's a good color for this, but it is what it is. Um, you know what? I want to do a really quick test. Um, just to make sure everything's okay. I mean, if worst case scenario, we might just do some box sessions. I mean, I have a topic I wanted to talk about, but I want to make sure that I hope she's okay. Um, I'm not going to say who's going to join me, but just in case, it'll be a surprise. What did Lisa say? Lisa just called me fat. That's okay. I can take it. Yeah, Lisa, thank you for mentioning that about the question and answers. When you ask a question, that's perfect. Um, let me see. I want to try something really quick. Um, I just want to make sure that everything else sounds okay. Um, yeah, I'm working on some stuff for Saturday show. Also, that's basically what I was working on today. So, I'm excited. Let me know if you guys can hear this. Okay, I just want to do a really quick test. Can you guys hear that? Okay. Awesome. Is it loud and clear? I just want to test this really quick. Okay, perfect. All right, cool. Yeah, I've lost God, I don't know, 56 pounds, somewhere around there. Somewhere around there. All right, cool. Okay, perfect. Awesome. So yeah, what I did was I changed out all of my audio gear. I basically went back to all pro gear. So yeah, everything I think is gonna sound a lot better. Um, I don't know. I think that's all right. But all right, cool. Um Yeah, I swapped out basically everything. I swapped out the mic, I swapped out my soundboard, I added a compressor, I swapped out a USB hub because I was having so many issues. I didn't know where the issue lied. I think it was honestly probably the USB hub and or a bad cable. So I think it was a combination of two. Because I swapped out both. Well, I swapped out the cables first, and I was having some issues, but not as much. So I swapped out the USB hub and everything was working better. But while I was at it, I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to swap out everything. So I went crazy. Anyway, enough of that. So yeah, basically, I mean, I did have a topic lined up, um, but I think that somebody, I don't know what happened to her. I'm a little concerned now, but um, maybe she'll come on a little bit late. But yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about the paranormal, a little bit, just different things to that I don't think a lot of people really discuss. So yeah, I think it's some things that need to be said. So um, yeah, it's going to be a cool topic once if we do um, discuss that tonight. If not, we'll just put it off for another night. I'm okay with that. Um, Yeah, I know, Gainer, I'm not changing anything because I know that this setup works perfect. Um, like I said, it's all pro audio gear. I did change it to like streaming gear, which is sometimes a little flaky because there's so many different software updates and things like that. So, when something's working, then a new version comes out, then it breaks something. So I got tired of that. I got tired of, the sound not being consistent. So that's why I wanted to go ahead and change up everything. But with that said, I think now what we're gonna do is I'll probably just do some box sessions or something. It's something that I normally don't do on the Wednesday show, but you know, you know how things go. Yeah, and thank you for to Lindsay for helping me test everything. She's been a great asset. Um, she's been a great asset. She's helped me so much with my testing, with doing testing on different different ITC um, tests that I've been doing. So it's she's amazing. Just want to say thank you to Lindsay. Um, I turned up the volume a little bit on my mic. If it's too loud, just let me know. I'll turn it down a little bit. Hey Joe, how you doing? What else? So yeah, we'll go ahead and do some sessions, I guess. Hold on, I'm reading Carl's comment or question. Do you think that the dialogue about war and end of days, etc., coming from AI? Carl, that's a good question. But here's I'm gonna add to that. You missed a show on Saturday. Um, so we were getting a lot of things that were referring to end of days, um, kind of about talking about the war. There was a lot of things that were kind of brought up to your question. Um, and I think it probably is coming from, if it's coming from AI, I don't know. Um, it's always possible. I mean, I don't know. Do we have the answers? No. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I mean, Elena does some amazing work. I'm just really amazed every time I watch her. I'm just really blown away by what she says. So it's just mind blowing. And just with what everything that's going on right now, yeah, I don't know. Um, there's just a lot of crazy things happening, and I think that there's more and more people, waking up to the type of communication that is occurring. So I'm just really blown away, and I'm just really excited for things to come. Um, Now, what we're talking about is there's been a lot of talk about, um, you know what, Carl? You should just join me. You should just jump on here. I think that would be amazing. I could send you a link. You could join up if you want. You don't have to. I'm just saying if you could. I mean, I think that would be amazing just to talk about it since we're bringing it up. Uh, um. Okay. Yeah, Carl. Here, let me send you the link. Hold on one second. Hold on, guys. I got to send Carl the link. I think Carl might join us. That's going to be amazing. This will be amazing. Let me send you the link. Hold on. Oh, there I go again. Come on, call me out. All right. I just sent it. Yeah. My God. You guys are going to be like, this is amazing that you guys are like calling me out. I'm just like in a giddy mood. I don't know what's up with me today. Well, I do know what's up, but anyway. Um, hold on one second. That's yeah, that's I saw something about that. I saw it a while back. Um, it was pretty interesting on what's on that whole topic, but it's coming. And I think a lot of people are waking up to that. Yeah, that is my catchphrase. Oh my god. I got to stop. I got to stop. I'm working on it. I even realized that today. I was talking to a customer today and I was walking them through a setup um on his system and I had to look something up, so I told him, "Hold on while I do this." I don't know where the hold on shirt is. It's probably coming. I'm sure. I'm sure. This cord's like bugging me. Keeps on hitting my arm. Hold. I'm not saying it. That's not going to work. There. Get out of my way. Okay. Fighting with the cord over here. It's bugging me. It keeps on rubbing against my arm and it's bugging me. So we're waiting for Carl to join us and but we're going to talk about he and I talked a little bit about this topic. So I do have a lot of um conversation off I guess off camera. So it's going to be interesting. So Carl and I always talk about um we talk about communication uh with Galactic Federation. So that's talking it's higher communication, trying to do communication with ET, things like that. And and basically that's what Blu-ray I guess is based off of. Um so for those of you that haven't heard the modified Blu-ray that I was working on, so basically it's bringing out voices, lower voices in the communication that's coming through. So for a while, we were also hearing what sounds like whispers coming through in the background when you listen to Blu-ray. So we talked about this months ago on trying to enhance those voices to bring out the whispers. And when we did that, now what we're hearing also, what we're hearing also is, now what we're hearing is like breaths, and within the breaths, you're also hearing whispers coming through. It's like the person that's talking is trying to say something, and you could hear it within the breaths of the voice coming through, and it's really, really bizarre. Um, Tonight I was doing some testing, and there was a lot of voices coming through, again. Um, and that's why I said I'm really excited for Saturday because I'm gonna run uh, some of the sessions, and, I'm just really excited to see what's gonna come through. Yeah, I didn't light up the candles tonight. I usually don't light them up on the Wednesday show. I normally light them up on the Saturday show. So we have a special guest with us. Let me go ahead and bring him on. And let me change my background before I do that. I'm going to put it back to the one that Lindsay and I were using Saturday. So let's bring on Carl. What's happening, Carl?
I'm all good. So I just needed a few minutes because I'd just woken up, so I was looking pretty like freaking shocking.
That's okay.
So yeah, I'm all good. I'm all
Well,
good.
good. Glad that you came on. Because like I was telling everybody in the on before you were while we're waiting, you and I had some pretty interesting conversations about Galactic Federation or
Yes,
in it or Galactic Council, however you
the
want to say it.
Galactic Federation of Worlds, I believe it is.
Right.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, and the thing is that I just listening to that stuff, and also this other stuff that I've been listening to, like it just like has made me sort of like feel that like the more importance it is to actually find out what it is that we're dialoguing with, because then we know whether the information can be trusted or not.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
D- I mean,
No, that's absolutely correct. Because we don't know who we're communicating with. We're just assuming, right? And
yeah, and
we're getting messages.
I don't even know like if there's a way that it can even be found out actually, because the ones that like are deceptive aren't going to tell you, are they? Who they
Right.
are?
Right.
Uh, yeah, yeah,
Well, it's like what Elena was saying. So because right now with the war going on, the percentage of us contacting uh somebody from the Galactic Federation is what? It was like what, 4% or 2%?
yeah. But like, didn't she say like? Didn't I hear her saying that you can't do it? Like they won't communicate with you?
She said the chances of you communicating with them is very slim.
Yeah,
It's about 4%.
yeah,
It's yeah, it's 2%. It's 2% because 98% of the time you're communicating with AI. That's gonna impersonate.
yeah. So I want to like just tell those things. So last week, right, I had to house sit this house, and I had no like freaking internet or phone connection. That's why I couldn't come like watch the show and stuff.
Right.
But thing is that while I was house sitting this house, and I just had a few toys with me, and I had a radionics device. So I used my brother that's in the astral.
Mhm.
Um, he sort of helps me to like initiate contact and stuff like that. So I used a radionics device. I set that up in the place with the intention to connect to him, and it just created this like sphere, and I could see clearly like from here to there. So I had asked him like whether or not he could just go and do a trip to that place, between Jupiter and Ganymede, to see whether or not he could see these ships there.
Mhm.
But so he said that he could, but whether or not he's seeing an astral, I mean, because obviously they exist in multiple densities, right? But my thing is that they're going to know if they're telepathic, they're going to know if someone's spying on them, don't you think?
Right. So, can you do me a favor and kind of tell the story about your brother if you don't mind on what you told me? If you don't mind sharing that.
Which part?
When you first came in contact with your brother. And
Okay, yeah. So what happened is that about 3 4 years ago, my brother was killed in an explosion, and on the night that he died, I just got off the phone from my sister who rang me up to tell me he was dead, and he walked in the door beside me and was standing in the back room, and he was just standing there in the corner, like doing this thing with his hands, like just not even facing me. And so, anyway, I just thought, far out, I'm tripping balls here because I've just heard that he's died and stuff. I looked away, shaking my head and stuff, but no, he was fully there, right? So, um, when I tried to dialogue with him, he just disappeared, right? And then he disappeared off the radar. And so I knew that because of the circumstances of his death, because he actually blew himself up, it wasn't an accident, right? That he
mm,
could have possibly gone to a pretty dark place. And sure enough, he did, right? So I initiated like contact with him, and he was in a really bad place where he was just a horrible environment and stuff like that. So I started with my limited understanding. Am I echoing?
no, you're fine.
Um, about how his state of mind, his emotions are what's based on his environment that he lives in. So we just started like, I would like, um, and the house that he was living in, which looked like something out of a horror movie, it was all just run down. You know, like he said that when he came to, he woke up in a hospital there, and then they released him, and he was taken to a house, and that house was his, and he had a car there, and he just was going along to work like he did here, like nothing had changed. But anyway, in exchange for me sort of like helping him to elevate his mood, and I was sort of projecting energy. I am echoing. Can you hear me
Oh
pretty
no,
well?
go ahead and keep talking. Let me see if I can get rid of the echo.
Okay, okay. He
Go ahead, keep talking.
he
Let me know if he's
started.
still echoing.
Am I echoing?
Okay. I think I stopped it.
Okay, okay. He started working to. Can you hear that echo?
No, no, no. I killed the echo on our side.
Okay, cool. He started like showing me, helping me to like with him, right? Um, so the most interesting discovered is that the intention implanted there, it would become an object, um, which is why I said if we could plant a device, like it with an intention of a device, somewhere in a specific place in the astral that would connect to your Blu-ray,
Right.
like whether it could act as a transmission thing, because with the devices that you plant there, you don't have to like fill in all like nuts and bolts of it, right? It's just you could just place I placed a shape, like an oval shape, with the intention that that would be something, it would do something, and it just does it, you know.
Mhm.
Because I did have this like idea that like we could plant like one by the like freaking spaceships of these like beings, this little like probe thing. But then I sort of figured that they would probably know.
Right.
I think. I don't know.
Yeah. You know, God, it's just really hard. So Kevin was asking about AI. So when AI is brought up, when you talk about Galactic Federation, AI are basically imposters. Um,
Yeah, so that actually like so the an artificial like so she said there was two. There's the artificial intelligences that have been created, and then there were ones that were actually like individuated consciousnesses that were acting as AIs.
right.
So the thing is, even when I talk to my brother Kurt, right, I really need to actually like freaking look at the dialogue that I'm getting and stuff like that, because just like when you're talking on a Ouija board and you have your hand on an indicator, that thing can read everything out of your aura, everything that you know, right? So it's like then it becomes this thing, well, you can't trust necessarily because this person can have the presence of that person that you know, look like them, like appear to you as them, and like thing like that. You know, the dialogue will know everything that you know about each other and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
it could actually be reading that out of your aura. It may not be a true connection, and this is why this sort of throws a spanner in the works a little bit because it's going to go for your like freaking strongest emotional like freaking like thing as well, because that's what's going to generate the most energy for it if that's what it's after, some sort of like emotional like freaking outpouring that you're gonna that it can use.
Exactly.
um I mean, I think this is why, like, she was like talking about like the thing with the rhetoric of these things is like the war and like the like anything that's going to bring this feeling of doom and gloom, and the world is rife for it because look at the way people are just going into fear factor or
Yeah.
already are that you know.
Right. Right. I
Um,
mean, it's like what she was saying when we try to communicate, right? And she has certain people that she says are like, you do not want to try to attempt to contact these people
yeah,
because um I'm not going to mention names, but there was like 5 people that she will not even try to she will not bring up their names. Um
yeah,
and so because a lot of people, try to communicate with spirit, try to communicate um with Galactic Federation, uh what have you. Um there's so much AI out there right now because of
yeah,
with everything that's happening right now
yeah.
that you're opening yourself up um to
That's
basically
right.
be attacked.
Yeah. That's right. And the thing is, until you can actually get to the point where you can like effectively and specifically target like your communication to a particular individual and bypass all those ones that can hijack the signal.
Mhm.
I mean, you're going to be like you're just going to be prone to it. My worry is because I've been watching this other stuff and like it's talking about this process. So we're either actually individually going to go into an ascended state or we're going to go into a fall, right? And really, like if we are density or we've got something that's sort of latched onto us, it's not, it's, it could put us into a fall state. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know, like, I would love to be able to dialogue with these extraterrestrial races, but I'm just not sure how possible it's going to be.
Um, I don't know. I mean, we're trying. We're doing a lot of different types of experiments, and there's a handful of us that we still need to I guess have a talk.
Yeah,
And um I think what I'm going to do is bring on somebody that has some experience and has some stories. And
yeah,
what she told me was I was blown away. And I think with a group, if she's willing to come on and join us with the our small group that we've assembled, I
yeah,
think if she comes on and talks with us, I think you guys are going to be blown away,
yeah.
and you're going to have a lot of questions.
I think
Um,
it's and to just like can I just like interject this here? I think it's important as well for other people that are part of this the Power Awakening sort of family, right? That
right.
when Rob talks about this little group that's going to do this thing, is only because it's not to the thing of excluding everyone else that's in part of this group, right? Is to the like freaking like trying to make a specific contact like to these things. So the once we've established that, then we can then include the whole lot, everyone.
Exactly. So basically, what we have done is we assembled a small group that
Yeah,
all have the same type of intent and we have the same background, basically, and we want to establish the same type of intent and communication. So once we try out some of these experiments, then we're going to include everybody else into this project. So, like Carl said, we're not trying to exclude anybody. We have to start somewhere. And,
yeah,
it's like we can't just have, okay, we're going to do a huge group session and this
yeah.
is what we're going to do. We have to try to concentrate it, work on that, and then once we get establishment, I guess, or we were able to see where this goes, and then we're going to include everybody else. So yes, don't feel like you got everybody else is excluded, because you're not. We're
And
looking out for everybody.
optimistic for us to believe that we're going to like we're going to get it this time. You know, it's like it might take a few of practice to get here.
Right. So I'm trying to find. So I know Carl and I are kind of talking a little bit, and you guys seem a little confused. But let me find something, and I want everybody to watch this if you're interested. I'm going to pull up something, and I'm going to share it with everybody. Um, and then everybody will get the background of what we're talking about. Carl, you messaged it to me, correct? You sent me it to me a messenger, I believe.
What was it? What?
The video with Elena.
Yeah, I did send one to Messenger, yes, and I also made a post on our awakening group. Right?
Okay, I'm trying to find it. No, it's not there. I think it might have been in the group page. Hold on, guys. Oh my God. I said it. Yeah, get on me. I'm trying to find this really quick. The one that you posted today too was pretty interesting. So we're posting a lot of things in the Para Awakening group page. So everything that we're talking about can be found there.
So
Um,
yeah, the one I posted today was the other one, wasn't it?
right.
And I just found her when I went on a like freaking down a bloody YouTube rabbit hole last night. And came across this woman, and the reason that I like her stuff and is because she's getting these like data, this information through, and it's not all this like wishy-washy, oh, love schmut stuff. I mean, not that that's not important, but the thing is that like what the information that she's coming out with is very complex, like data. You
Hmm.
know, it actually to me, like if I was, as I said, I've told you before, if I was to want to hear from a advanced group of extraterrestrials, wouldn't want to be talked about love. You know, I'd want something that's had a little bit more grit in it. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Um, but again, um, and she's actually talking about the same things, and she's talking about how these ascension portals and stuff like that that had been set up or on the earth or whatever have been hijacked by this Draco race, um, and these Zetas, the Greys.
Mhm. Okay, so I just posted the link up in the chats. So if you want to click on that link and watch it later, um, there's some amazing stuff in there. Um, you can watch lots of her videos, and she's just amazing. Um, and everything that we're talking about is all discussed here. And she'll talk about it. So it's pretty eye opening, especially when you start looking at Galactic Federation. Um, it's coming out more and more in the mainstream. You'll hear about it talked about a lot more. Um,
Yeah,
even on Ancient Aliens. If you ever watch Ancient Aliens, they talk about it now. They're talking about it a little bit more They're starting to anyway.
Well, even more so, like if people want more sort of like, what they could class as legitimate sort of thing or whatever, the whole disclosure thing that's happening over there, over in your country,
Mhm.
with all those top military people and stuff like that that are coming forward now and actually like basically confirming what she's sort of saying
Yeah.
as well. Um, because obviously now is the time, you know, the thing about it is that like again, like, with all of these things, there's this whole thing of confusion because it's like we also know that there's a lot of military like posing themselves off as extraterrestrials as well, you know, because they've
Mhm.
been talking about that false flag like alien invasion like plan that they're wanting to initiate as well. So, it's like, well, we're seeing fleets of these ships all over like the world now, or whatever, but like everyone's going, oh, it's extraterrestrials, but like how much of it is military trying to actually pose as them, It's like, there's just, just to make, the shit show like freaking even more complicated, there's always like some sort of like freaking bloody, conniving that's happening, you know,
Right.
just
Right.
confusing.
Yeah, it's just yeah, it's crazy. And the other person, she will be coming on. She just got tied up working on something. So I got a message from her saying that she's running a little late, but she'll be here soon.
Oh,
Um
yeah.
yeah, I don't have the beep anymore. Sorry.
Yeah, well, I have to
The beep
say,
is gone.
I've already lost a few decibel like freaking things in my hearing, and like you like freaking shit blasted one of my ears one day with that like sound or whatever, and I'm sure I had like ringing in my ears for like bloody about 10 minutes after that.
Right.
It's all good. It's all good.
It's all good. I got rid of the beep. So um but yeah, it's so Ian, I saw a question. I was trying to go back to it. I don't Oh, here it is. So yeah, the thing about and that's something that we were discussing about using in this experiment because, a lot of it is um uh you know, a lot of communication is done telepathically. Um, it's like when you do when we were having a ghost box session, right? When
Yep,
we do a ghost box session, some people don't even type out their messages. They'll just think of their message and they'll get a
yep,
response.
yeah, yeah.
So it's happened more because remember when I did Blu-ray for the first time, I wasn't even hosting it. I left. I just turned it on and left because it was an experiment.
Well,
Uh,
I can remember that a few of us had some great like sessions like freaking while you weren't there.
Right,
Like,
and I
you know,
wasn't here to be the translator or to repeat ask the questions. It was
yeah,
all basically done when I was gone.
yeah,
So, and watching the responses that you guys were getting and all the messages that you guys were sending me after the fact
yeah.
were like, "Rob, you wouldn't believe it." It was like roll call. They were calling our names that were watching the show.
So
And
I think that telepathically is they're going to be their preferred choice of communication because I mean the whole thing is if we're to believe what we're being told is that one of the reasons they're here is for our evolution.
Mhm,
Um, it's like and so the thing is that this is why even without a device, I mean, because they're both good, we all love our toys, right? But like even without a device, to be able to do it in a group, so we could actually validate. So like if they do want to communicate telepathically into our minds rather than through a device, if there is a group doing it, then if we can all be getting the same message coming through, then because when you get something come through yourself, like there's always that big room for doubt, isn't it? Like, well, did my mind like say this or like who, whatever. But because, you know, I think that that sort of link with them, if we can get specific, like being or whatever, would probably be the safest route because we don't know who could hijack a device.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
don't get me wrong, I love your Blu-ray, I love it, right? I really know that. I can't say enough love about it, you know?
Well,
Um,
but and it's like, um, it's like when you watch Elena talk about it, it's, we have to come in tune with our own frequency, right? And then we have to use our heart chakra as the tool to communicate, right? And then you just radiate that out into the universe
yeah,
or up into the heavens.
yeah.
And if we can all do that collectively, just imagine what's going to happen. I mean, that's what I'm excited about. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah, so the thing is that if people can work on their macabre fields, because then if you can like, so you've sort of got to get all your chakras open and activated, right?
Mhm, mhm,
Be able to like, get your macabre field fired up, right?
right.
Then you can like fill that like macabre field with a specific intention, which obviously is a frequency, right? And then you expand that field out.
Right.
Like really the activation of the macabre field, because it seems I'm getting this thing from all over the place in the last few weeks, like, macabre, like coming from everywhere. And so, like, you've got to take note of synchronicities, right?
Mhm,
You know, I was talking to Deb the other day, and like, one of the things that I heard is that the sun is doing like these unprecedented like emissions onto the earth.
mhm,
And one of the dangers is that the strong like thing could cause a reset in us. And if we haven't got our macabre fields activated, we could lose, it could erase our memories, So, but also the macabre field, it's like a stargate, isn't it? Like, so I'm trying to, because I'm lazy, all right? I'm fucking shockingly lazy. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't say that. I'm a very lazy person. And so, like, I'm just trying myself to, just motivate myself to do my work every day and fire up that old motor.
So here's some okay. I'm going to share this with everybody, and you guys might think I'm crazy, but I told Carl this. Um, Carl was telling me, that I have to. There's still something missing, right? With Blu-ray, there's just something that still is kind of missing. So Carl suggested to me, um, Rob, you need to try to meditate a little bit more. Try to try some serious meditation. See if you can get more messages coming through. So I found something on doing a certain type of meditation. So I told Carl what I did. So I got myself into a state where my mind was totally clear, and he was talking about a macabre, right? The macabre field, and so I put myself in this state, um, and in that state, when I was sitting there meditating, and I was in a deep meditation, my eyes closed, and just totally focusing and concentrating. What appeared in my vision was a macabre field, and I was like, "What the hell am I looking at?" And it was just weird. All of a sudden, then it started rotating to the right, and I'm just sitting here, like, in my mind, just watching this thing, and it was weird. It was very colorful, but it was the total pattern was there.
Yeah,
All of a sudden, it started opening up. The center of it started opening up, and it put me, like, going through a tunnel.
yeah,
Um, when I started going through the tunnel, I was having these other visions, um, and then messages started coming through.
yeah,
I started getting clear communication. So they were saying that the device is right. You need to capture. So then I was getting more messages saying that I need to capture um the frequencies in the air. There's messages coming through there, not only through the device, but also in the air, like basically like so I'm saying like EVP type. And they're like, yes, you have to capture those frequencies and pull them in. There's messages. And I was like, okay. So I'm like, how can I pull them in? So I just started thinking of ways that I can capture the ether, right? Sound in the ether and try to pull them into the recordings. So I figured out a way to do it. So that's something I have to work on. I don't know if I shared all that with you. Carl, you frozen. I think you're frozen. Carl, you might have to go in and then come back. Go out and then come back in because I think you're frozen. Yeah, he lost internet. His connection's bad. Anyway, he'll be back. Yeah, he lost connection. He'll be back. Oh, see, his phone overheated. So no, it's see, this is a cool conversation that we're having. So let me paste that in one more time. So if you guys want to watch the video, also it can be found also in our group page. So if you guys want to join our group page, um, and let me share that with you guys. So you guys can send a request, and then I could allow you in if you guys want to be part of the group. So I just shared it. So there's one of the YouTube video that we're talking about. The second one is or a link to our group page. So yeah, see, I told you that there's some exciting things to come. This is what I was talking about. So this is the first time that we're sharing it. Um, so this is one thing that's to come. There's a whole lot more. Not only this is with kind of tied with Blu-ray. That's why we're doing it. But now there's going to be some other things that we're going to bring in also. There's going to be I really don't want to give it away yet. Part 2 will be coming probably tonight. So this will be another topic that or another project that we'll be working on soon. Um and then we will but that's going to segue into multiple areas of communication that we'll be focusing on in the future. So not only ghost boxes, but there's going to be a whole lot of different types of communication. So if you guys are interested in that, stay tuned. Because spirit communication is it's so broad. It's people just focus it in on ghost box sessions, on EVP sessions, things like that. But it's so much broader than that. All right, Carl, welcome back.
Sorry, technical difficulties. It's still quite.
That's okay.
It's,
I mean,
it's
people on the show should be used to that.
still quite hot over here, and so I'm sitting outside as well.
So Carl's in Australia, if you can't tell, or if you didn't
Yeah,
know.
yes. That,
So he's upside down right now.
am I down? So yeah,
Yeah,
Perth,
yeah.
for the people that don't know, is the most isolated city in the world. So I don't know why if I can choose to live here, but here I am. So
What is
yeah,
you talking about Perth?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So what I was gonna say before I got so rudely cut off by the weather, was that the good thing about, or the important thing I think of the macabre field is that really for really good communication, because consciousness is key. We need to get ourselves out of our head, right,
Mhm,
and sort of expand ourselves into the field. You know
mhm.
that. that field and expand it out, because you know until we can sort of like hold and maintain that transcendent sort of state, you know our mind rushes in to fill in all the gaps,
Mhm.
the monkey brain chatter, you know and yeah. So from so one of the guys that Elena interviewed, he said that in June, I think, this year, the light from a supernova that went off somewhere in a neighboring place or whatever is going to hit the solar system, right? And light it up like daylight for 3 days. So I'm actually just waiting for that, because if that can happen, then I can actually sort of like freaking have a little bit more trust in the other stuff, because it's all just theoretical, isn't it? It's just all theoretical, and like because a part of me goes, well, far out, there might be these extraterrestrials, and that's really great, and I could be one of those people that like friggin' frustrates myself until I friggin' die, and never
Right.
actually get confirmation whether it's true or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, or like friggin' because it's like, well, if they really actually want to make contact with you, like, but maybe you're just not that important to them.
Right.
Because I think the thing is that what it's going to be really key is that we can be of service to them, to actually, and you would be because you've got your group, right? To be of
Mm.
service to them in the sense that we're not just like freaking like, bloody trippers looking for like an experience or to satisfy our own curiosity, but to actually genuinely want to like get information out there that they may want put out there. If we can be of use to them, you know what I mean?
Right. Um, no, exactly. Exactly. And like our subconscious mind, it's so powerful. And this goes to your question, Rachel. So dreams actually, I mean, from my understanding or from what I've experienced, dreams happen from your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind has a lot to do with your dreams. Um, so it might be a thought like with me, I go to sleep thinking about these projects constantly and I'll dream about them, and because I'm thinking about it so much that things come to me in my sleep, or ideas come to me in my sleep. And so I wake up some nights just or some mornings just exhausted because my mind was just going the whole night. When I dream a lot, I'm exhausted the next day. And
Yeah,
also I do astral travel sometimes at night.
yeah.
So, and I can tell because I don't usually when I astral travel, I have no dreams. It's like I can't remember anything. It's like my mind just I woke up blank, but I'm exhausted. So I knew that there was an event that happened. That's how I know because my body's telling me that. But our subconscious minds play into dreams a lot.
So
Um, can it
I don't know.
be spirit communication? It can be also.
So I don't know if you've heard. How many of you heard the Munro Institute? So Bob Munro, um, you know, did some great like fucking research and experimentation. So anyway, one of the things that he was saying, and the techniques he used was, if we just go to sleep, a lot of it's going to be our subconscious, randomly like piece things together, right?
Hmm.
So he did this technique where before you went to sleep, you just visualize you putting yourself and all your thoughts, beliefs, today into a pulling down the lid, so that when you go into your dreams will not be your conscious register, right? And
Right.
actually create a better field for communication. Um, so yeah,
It's hard to cut out the echo because Carl's on the phone. So, because of the way that a phone works is it's gonna send out the audio and then pull it back in. So it's really hard for me to control the echo on this side. So, um, you know, I can try it. Trying to,
Yeah,
um
sorry.
I'm trying
Use, use,
to fix that.
I can't
I
use my
can't use
computer.
my computer.
My
My
microphone
microphone
camera's not
camera's not
working on it.
working on it. Oh, no worries. No worries. All right, go ahead and speak up, Carl. Let's see if it cleared up.
Echo,
Echo.
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 Am I still
Am I still
echoing?
echoing?
I am. Hello,
No,
hello.
I can't hear it, but I don't know if they can. Like
Oh
you're
no,
clear on my side.
I can't
I
see
can't
any.
see any.
I
That's all
know.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've just
Yeah.
sort of sitting
Sort of sitting
distance to be
to
have my
be have my
swipe
brain.
any comments, but I will be reading them later.
Yeah. Um, it's okay. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I can't control the echo on my side. Um, it's just because he's using a phone, so unless he had headphones, but um,
If I use headphones, would it take it away?
yeah, if as long as you have a mic on your headphones, yeah, it'll take away the echo. There you
Good.
go. Yep.
Okay. Is that better?
Oh yeah, much better.
Ah.
All right, so see, we got him back. So yeah, I mean, just the subconscious mind. It's just mind blowing on how it works.
You know, that one of the things that I have studied for years and I'm really into is the Kabbalah, right? And not the whole sort of like, you know, academic sort of side of it, but more the experiential side of using the tree of life as a map to travel on.
Mhm.
Like I've had some amazing experiences doing pathworking up the tree into the different spheres, right? But anyway, one of the things that the Hermetic Kabbalah like teaches is that the subconscious mind, which is located in the sphere of the moon, right, in the ninth sphere, is actually a collective. Like we don't actually have an individuated subconscious mind. Like it's shared.
Oh, you're frozen again. I think his phone overheated again. It's probably warm where he's at, so and he's outside with his phone, so anyway, yeah, so everybody's like talking about dreams right now in the chats. It's just hard to I mean, there's some great dream books out there. So if you guys want to try to see what your dreams mean, you can look up that. I don't know if it's 100% accurate, but they're pretty interesting. I'm always doing like different types of research. So I'm always reading something. I cannot read a novel because I can't do it. I think it's my ADHD just won't let me just read a novel. I have to learn something for me to read something. Or I can't really watch movies anymore. I can't last two times I went to the movies, I couldn't even pay attention. I wanted to walk out. I think I'm at that state right now where I'm just have so much on my mind. I have so much um things I want to accomplish, so I'm always trying to learn something. Uh-oh. Who's here with us? Are you there? Hello? Think we have another guest. Maybe? Oh, Carl's back.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, sorry, I had to move back inside because yeah, it's just overheating my phone out there.
Yeah, I
I don't
kind of
want I don't want an exploding phone happening on me.
no, exactly. That's why I mentioned that too. I said it's probably really warm out where he's at right now, so his phone's
Yeah,
overheating.
and being inside will hang on.
Almost
Yeah,
there.
and it'll give me time. It'll give me a chance to like not be smoking my brain off if I'm sitting inside as well.
Yeah, so Carl's rolling cigarettes. If anybody's wondering, people thought you were rolling up something else.
No, actually, I can't do that anymore because it like turned on me, and I was living in Amsterdam at the time. And I used to like to go and get my joints from the like, the little cafe around the corner when I'd go home each day. And then suddenly it just turned on me. It started throwing me into these like horrendous anxiety attacks. And so I persevered because, I'm not a quitter when it comes to my vices.
Right.
But eventually I had to just realize I just couldn't do it.
Yeah. No,
Shame,
I
but
knew somebody that had a really bad trip in Amsterdam. They went to a cafe, had a couple of things, and that they just said that they had something that basically, when he came back to the US, he was put in a 5150,
what's that?
a psych hold,
Oh, okay.
a 72-hour psych hold, because
Yeah,
the trip was so bad.
yeah. There's so my whole like thing, just to like finish what I was trying to say out there was is that like being a collective, if it is a collective, the subconscious mind, then like, a lot of the stuff that's going to be like coming through our mind is we associate it as being us, but it's probably not even us at all.
Right,
It's probably like collective racial memories and,
right.
like, um, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a trip. So, and this is what, plays into, this is what plays into the paranormal. It's just there's so much with the mind that you have to really,
Get out of it.
yeah, you have to
You
get
have to
out
get out
of
of it.
it. Yeah, it just plays so much into it that a lot of people don't realize. Um, and this is what we wanted to talk about a little bit. You just have to be in the correct state of mind when you're
Yeah,
when you're investigating or doing some type of communication because you can open yourself up to something
yeah.
bad.
So if you do the pillar of light, right? And
Mhm,
then you send it down to the center of the earth, right? And then you imagine it going up to infinity,
mhm,
like more than it just being a tube, right? You've got to like sort of like have that like understanding that you are that complete tube going right up there. And up there is what you might call your higher self or source, whatever name you want to give to it. But
mhm,
it's you have to get to that point where you're not just seeing these like things like this God or this source as some sort of entity outside of you. You are it,
mhm.
you know. And so by shifting up the tube or elevating yourself up the tube and not trying and being that, like knowing that you're that, can shift you out of the like monkey chatter brain,
Right.
um, and make communication a lot clearer.
Yeah. And I mean that the biggest thing is to protect yourself. And that's why I posted the five different meditation protection I guess videos, because you have to be careful. You know, like what is it? The meditation number 2 that's there. I've been doing that for over 20 years, maybe 30 years now. That's the protection tool that I use. And it works great for me. I mean, everybody's different. So whatever works for you, that's what you have to do. But you always have to protect yourself. Um, God, I wish Deb would hurry up. I just want to open everything up now. Um, I know she
Yeah,
came
because
on, but I'll know she's having connection issues. What's going on? But
well, she might be having an overheating problem as well, being in West Australia as well.
you're right, right. So yeah, I just let the cat out of the bag. So Deb is supposed to join us also, and we're going to have a discussion on the topic that I just started to bring up, on protecting herself and the dangers that can happen uh, in the paranormal. Something that I have great experience with because I suffered from it. So, and I could speak from experience and
Yeah,
knowing other people that have suffered from it. So, that's kind of what we wanted to talk about tonight. But if we have to wait, then we'll wait.
yeah, it's so important because I got infiltrated. I'm echoing again, aren't I?
And but see, people don't realize that you can be infiltrated um
Yeah,
when you least expect it. I mean, it can happen. Hold on. So we're gonna bring her on in. Deb, are you there? Deb?
Deb.
I have another way that we can bring you in if you're having problems there. Um you could call me on Facebook and I could bring you in that way. I've done it once with Lisa. I can do it again.
Rob has the technology, Deb.
I have the technology. I don't think she can hear us. Let me send her a message. Sorry, guys. It's not me having technical difficulties. Now it's others. It's passed on, but they're calling into my show, so um
I could do a little entertainment interlude, but I'm a terrible singer, so you'd lose all your audience. So I'm just going to roll another cigarette instead.
all right, I'm gonna see if she's gonna call me on here, and then I'll bring her in that way. We'll see.
So do you want me to say bye so she's got room to be on the thing?
Um not not yet. It'll be fun to have the three of us on here for a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, we have the technology. Yep. Reference to $6 million man or Bionic Woman.
Where is that like Len? Is he in here today? Has he changed
Len
his
was
underwear
here.
yet, or what's happening with him?
Or Kevin, you know what? You know why they're having why they're having so many issues is because they're upside down. They can't help it.
Am I still upside down?
Just because you're on the other side of the world,
Oh, yeah. Yep. We have to use strong gravitational boots here just to like stay on the surface of the planet.
right?
Yeah, for those that don't know. But
Exactly.
we're going into a pole shift, so like you might end up being at the bottom
Right.
after that. So you can experience what it's like to like hang upside down from your feet.
Exactly. Well, you know what? With all the UFO activity that's around here, off of the coast of California, um, and the USOs that are commonly seen, just off of the coast of Malibu, it's pretty crazy. So,
Mm, yeah. Do you think like because Stephen Greer, a lot of the like people that are coming through with the disclosure, like Alana and all that sort of stuff, have been saying for a long time that they're going to do a false flag like alien invasion thing. And do you think that, you know, if they do that, even though they've been saying it for years, that like, a lot of people in America, especially, will go into hysterics believing that it's true?
Honestly, I was just talking to a friend of mine about this a few nights ago. Honestly, we think that they would.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just because of God, here we go. I really don't want to
Religion?
say it, but it's
Religion?
religion.
Yeah.
Um, unfortunately, um, God, and this is another topic that we wanted to bring up at a later time, but I just think with how religion here or Western religion is, I think a lot of people are. I don't even want to say it.
You know, I love like the short time that I was living in the States, right?
Mm,
But and like, I was like, as I said to you, I was like living in Laguna Beach and but going through to like LA and stuff like that. And
right,
I thought to myself, oh, like again, in the cool part of like America, well, remain like that. But I didn't realize how many people are like blighted with a really fanatical like thing of this religious thing. Like, so I wear a pentagram, right, around my neck. I've always
right.
like freaking worn a pentagram and stuff like that. I had people freaking out of me. Like, they they didn't even look like conservatives. Like one guy, like freaking like literally jumped off his chair and hid around behind his chair and goes, "Oh my God, you're wearing a pentagram. I shouldn't be talking to you." It's
Yeah,
like, what the fuck? Like,
right.
and it's like when I think I said this when I was doing this last, like when we were talking last time, and I was listening to these people and they were going, oh, these extraterrestrials, they're not extraterrestrials, they're demons because, God created us. We look like God and they don't look like us. So they're not like, they must be from the devil, and it's like, far out. Any extraterrestrials that might actually come and want to give a helping hand, I mean, they've got a like freaking huge thing to like navigate through because she's saying they don't want to come if it's going to cause a mass hysteria. They're not going to make themselves fully known. But
Right.
there's so many people in the world that because of that, their belief system are just going to wig right out.
Yeah. No, exactly. And it's just yeah, it's funny. I used to there's a couple of t-shirts that I do have. So I would wear them just to see the reactions that I would get. Um and it was pretty funny. I
Yeah.
have one of um Baphomet reading reading the Satanic Bible, and it says reading is fun. Um and the looks that um, I would get more looks than and it was funny because some people I would get comments, "I love your t-shirt,"
Yeah.
or "I love your shirt." Other people would
Yeah.
just give me a look and they were just like and they would whisper like comments and I would just laugh. Um, but
Well, here's a little fact about me, right? When I was a kid, the first thing I ever shoplifted, and I didn't make a lifelong career out of it, so don't worry. But the first thing I ever shoplifted was I went into a bookstore and stole a copy of the Satanic Bible, right?
right.
And, you know, because where I lived as a kid, a minister of the Presbyterian Church around the corner,
Mm,
like, fucking moved in there with his family. And so, like, I come from a family of heathens, we love it like
right,
that. But
right.
anyway, this minister's like, I was 10 at the time. This minister's like to my dad one day, oh, your kid's baptized. And dad's like, I never got the kids baptized, whatever, like that. And this guy just wigged out, right? So
Right,
somehow or other, he managed to convince my dad, who fucking never stepped foot in a freaking church, right?
right.
Um, to fucking embarrassingly drag like me and my sister, who was like 2 years older, up the freaking aisle of this church one Sunday morning to have us baptized.
Hold on one second. I'm gonna try to call it Deb. I'll see if I can bring her on this way. See if she'll answer. You guys would probably hear the ringing, right?
She's probably in that swimming pool of hers. Luckily,
Probably.
swimming it up.
She's not answering. Oh, hold on. Here she is. Hey, there you are.
Oh my goodness gracious! For some reason, my phone, my microphone, and video were blocked. Don't ask me. I'm here now. Good on you,
Okay.
honey.
Hold on one second. Let me do this. Hold on, guys. Oh, I keep on saying it. Okay, so let me hide my.
Where you going, Rob?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you guys?
I don't think you
We've
can hear.
lost.
Carl, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So yeah, I'm going to be on 2 little videos, but let me move Deb down here. Carl and I will switch. Let me turn off this graphic.
Oh, look,
How are you, Carl?
Rob. I'm good, thank you. I was sitting outside prior, but it's
Yeah,
still quite warm outside, and so my phone kept on overheating.
yeah. It's cooled down a little bit, but it's still bloody hot.
Mm.
So now we have all 3 of us on. So yeah, Deb, we missed you, so I just called Carl. Hey, Carl, get on here because we're talking about
Woo woo.
communicating with
Woo-woo.
Galactic Council in our little group that we're going to be working on. So we talked a little bit about that.
Okay, crack on, lovey.
No, it's your turn.
I'm ready.
You're center stage, Deb. It's all you now. We've been
So
waiting. We've been waiting so
I don't like
patiently.
the stage, you know this.
so
Hello, everyone. Can't see the comments, but hello to everyone from Australia, the place that doesn't exist. When I phoned Rob after the show last week when I said, "Oh, great heads up, thanks for the invitation." We talked about a couple of subjects that he may want to touch on, and some of the topics that we're going to talk about today, and get everybody's feedback and experiences with using or not is some shadow work and what that actually means. Salt protection, white lighting, herbs and smudging work, crystal protection. And your shadow work is really about aligning your energy, your frequency, and your chakras and getting rid of dark energy from within. It's not about anything external, it's about what you're putting out into the world. So, yeah, that's pretty much for now, and they're pretty big topics on their own. So, did I miss anything?
no, that's um no, somebody said that you were echoing. Are she still echoing a little bit?
Oh, sorry.
Put your headphones on, Deb. Have you got headphones?
Do you have headphones?
Oh, now I'm echoing.
Yep, hold tight.
Oh, now I'm echoing.
Are you echoing? Hold on. Let me turn something else on. Oh my god, I keep on saying it. No, she's good.
Hold on.
Okay. Hold on.
No. Oh,
All right. Here she comes. So Deb, so what I oh she I don't think she can hear me yet.
Yeah,
Um,
go. I can hear.
so what I was talking about was earlier. I said talking about protecting yourself before you go out on an investigation, before you do any type of spirit communication, things like that. So here's 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 the thing. So Rachel just brought up a point. So Rachel, to talk about what you just brought up about Ouija boards. So a Ouija board is no difference than a ghost box, no different than a pendulum. Any type of deviation tool is that's communication. They're all the same. Basically, you're trying to communicate with spirit, so it doesn't matter if it's a Ouija board, whether it's a spirit board, using a pendulum. Like I said, using um, doing a EVP session, just communicating with, trying to communicate with spirit using a recorder, using a ghost box. Spirit communication is spirit communication all across the board. There's no difference from one or the other. It's intent. It's the intent is what matters. So if you intend on contacting something evil, you're going to contact something evil. Um, it doesn't matter on the tool. It all depends on the intent.
Absolutely every time. Absolutely every time.
So, but anything opens the door. You doing an EVP session opens the door. Any type of communication with spirit, any communication with whether it's lower level, higher level, doesn't matter. When we're communicating with spirit, we're communicating with lower level entities. Um,
Yeah.
So when you open up to communicate with something, um, it doesn't matter what it is, you're opening up a door. Um, so that's why I said you have to be very careful. You have to protect yourself. Now, I'm just going to go into it, Deb, real quick.
Go
So,
for it.
back in 2015, 14, 15, somewhere around there, I was going to a location quite often. Um, Within probably 40 hours of going into this location, I would go there uh, and spend 8 hours at a time, sometimes 10 hours at a time.
Whoa,
Within
that's
about
too much.
within about 40 hours of going to this location, because I was doing some serious investigating, trying to figure out who was there, it was an old jail. I was going there, and at that time, I was going through some depression. So for me to snap out of my depression, my depressive state, I would need to get out. So I was like, you know what? Let's go to the jail. Somebody wants to do an investigation. Let's go to the jail. And so, because I was a facilitator for the jail, so I would be asked to come out there and walk through a group. And after the group was done, then I would just stay there till the next morning, till 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. Um, so this would happen quite often. So, like I said, about 40 hours into being at that location, I came home, took a shower, got out of the shower, and all of a sudden I was just freaking angry. I mean, I was angry. Didn't know why I was angry. That's not like me at all. Um, somebody's like, okay, anyway. So all of a sudden, somebody my ex-girlfriend at that time started noticing a big change in my personality over the following week. Um, and she kept on asking me, "What's wrong with you? What's wrong? What's going on?" And she was like, "You need to go to the doctor. You need to get checked out." She thought it might have been for my depression. So the more and more I was around other people were noticing a change in my personality. And then I started getting very obsessive with wanting to go back to the jail. It would be in the middle of the week, and I said, "Hey, we need to go to the jail tonight." And we're like, and my girlfriend at that time would tell me, "No, we can't go to the jail. It's like the middle of the week. We got to call so and so to get the keys, and we're not going to go there during the week. We got to work." So I would have to wait till like Friday night, or Friday afternoon after work. But who wants to drive in LA traffic in the middle of Friday rush hour? Right. So I was like, "Hey, it's Friday
Yeah.
afternoon. Let's go." And I would go in the middle of rush hour just because I was needed to get in there. So so everybody started saying, "Rob, you're getting obsessed with this place." So I started talking to a good friend of mine, and she said, "Rob, it sounds like you're oppressed. You need to just take a break. You need to back away." And I just said some nasty words to her, and that's not me. I just went off on her and said, "Who are you to stop me from going there?" And I just basically hung up on her, and I didn't talk to her for a while. Um, then I finally realized, so I started going back, and I just noticed, God, what's wrong with me? There's something wrong. This isn't me. And because sometimes I wouldn't remember being at certain places, and then I was like snap out of it, and I'm like, what the hell am I even doing here? I mean, it was like that bad to where it
Well,
wasn't even my thoughts anymore. So, so I called up the friend that was telling me that I was oppressed, and I started crying. I mean, I just was bawling like a little girl. And all of a sudden, I went from bawling like a little girl to just furious and angry again. And I literally I grabbed my phone and I threw it across the room, because I couldn't believe I was talking to somebody and what I was saying. And I snapped out of it. Something just like came over me again, and I just threw my phone. So there was a lot of things, and then I said, "You know what? Something is wrong." So I said, "I'm not going back to the jail. You can tell me all you want to, you need to go back there. You need to go back there. I am not going. I would just fight it." So that's when I realized that I was oppressed. Um, so I had to stay away for a little while, away from the jail. Um, Anytime I would start feeling obsessed with I need to go back, I would fight that urge and say, no, I can't. I would even have to cancel tours because of that. And then so I had to be in the correct mindset for me to go back. Um, so it took a while. I was oppressed for about 2 years. So
well,
um, yeah, it took a while. But I had to be in a stronger mindset. So once I got over what I had to do was get over the depression before I could even go back. So I was going to therapy, got stronger, and so I tested myself by going back. And um I was with somebody and they said, "Okay, if you start feeling any anger, or if I start noticing a change in your behavior, we're pulling you out and we're leaving." So, yeah, it just got that bad. So, speaking from experience, oppression is something that is not fun. I went back to this location at a bad time when I shouldn't have been there. My mindset wasn't right. I was weak-minded. I That opened me up to something that wanted to attack me, and it did. It attached itself to me, and it took me 2 years to get over that. So that's why I always speak out to, when you go into an investigation, you have to be in the correct mindset. You have to, if
absolutely.
you have any doubt, if you have any type of fear, um, because when you're depressed, you don't know what you're going through. You don't know how you're feeling. You don't know if you're afraid of something, or if you're just suffering from something else. And that's why, if you show fear, any kind of fear, or if you look at a location and you're like, "Oh my God, I'm afraid to go in there," you have no business of even walking through that door if you're feeling that way. Because they're gonna see you as open
A
as
food,
you're just like
food.
you're open season. They're like, "Oh, there's our prey right there," and
Yeah.
they will wait. until you least expect it, and they will attach themselves to you. Um, I've seen it happen on many occasions. I've seen people. I've seen two people get possessed. Um,
You were on your way by the sounds.
what's that?
You were on your way by the sounds of it.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Exactly. Yeah. I was definitely opening myself up to being possessed. Absolutely. So that's why I say you have to be very careful. You have to not show fear. There's a lot of things that, and it just, I get so upset when I see people going into locations and basically all they're doing is going in and basically it's they're going in for a scare factor. I mean, that's the only reason why they're going in for an adrenaline rush. You have
Yeah.
no place to do that in when you're dealing with spirit because
Yeah.
you're opening yourself up to something and you're going to get hurt.
And those that you love that are around you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And this is why I'm speaking. I mean, I'm speaking from experience. I'm not talking about, talking out of my ass just, to try to scare people.
Oh.
I'm talking from experience. And I know somebody else that
So
was oppressed for many, many years, still has an attachment that can't get rid of, but there's still something there. And he's aware of it, but he deals with it. And
So
he
do you
knows.
think that it's only like the fear and like depression and stuff like that that they attach to? Because what say an entity like is coming at you because they've got some sort of like obsessive love for you? Do you think that they can also attach to the feeling of love? I mean, people say they can't, but like we don't really know that for sure, do we?
We don't know. We
Because
don't know.
that's a powerful energy as well.
Right. Of course. Of
But it's
course.
a
What do
positive
you think?
energy. It's not a
But
dark
but but
energy.
that is more of a
Yeah.
positive energy. So when you have love in your heart, I mean that's more of a. It's almost like, oh, I don't want to mess with that person because he doesn't have the correct energy. But if you have dark energy, they're going to attach themselves to that.
Yeah. That's that
Absolutely.
archon. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't know who they are, but it is a reality. What it is, and but in my experience, like yours and probably Carl's, anybody that's loaded with negativity, depression, sadness, revenge, hate, all those
Loneliness.
sorts of things. Um,
This thing that I was
Probably,
reading
yeah.
was
You could
saying
probably
that,
put that in there.
yeah, one of the things that I was like reading recently was saying that the one of the most commonest like emotions that people feel in this world is loneliness.
mhm.
And loneliness is a like makes you a real target apparently to spirits because they will then feed on that loneliness by befriending you, and I mean, I don't know.
It
But
makes sense. It might be the pathway that brings them in, that makes them choose you, because that loneliness, that low energy and vibration,
mhm,
would pick up dark energy.
right. And that was part of my depression because I mean, even though I was with somebody, um, I felt so lonely and I felt alone. Um, and that depression was just getting me down. I just isolate myself. I would lock myself basically in my office and I would just sit there and try to keep myself occupied. But the things that I was occupying myself was doing paranormal research. Um,
Mm.
and just that's I think where the obsession started coming in. Um, because I was doing so much research on this location, trying to find different things. I couldn't find anything because there was no records. Everything was basically archived. Um, and the only way I could get access to it was to go to public records, and that was only open, during the week, Monday through Friday. So I couldn't take off of work just to go search records.
Well,
So I just
in
started.
reality,
What's
in
that?
reality, sorry to jump in. I sound like I'm echoing or feedback or something. In reality, it went from the address that the place that you're investigating, and you carried it out with you into the world.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and I know that.
Mm. Mm.
So, and that's why, I wanted to speak out on this, and Deb and I had this conversation, and that's why I wanted to bring her on and talk about this. But anyway, so go ahead, Deb. I rambled on. That was my story, and that's why I
No,
just say people have to be, careful.
for anybody that steps into this field, there's a whole lot of work that has to happen, and I refer to it as mindfulness. I mean, I'm a lot older than a lot of you guys, so I've been down this pathway of depression and so forth. Never suicidal. I have to admit, I've never been that. However, doing the shadow work is all about finding the things inside of you. Jealousy towards anything. It could be an ex, getting someone to cast a spell to make them love you, which is a false energy. It doesn't always have to be in the field of paranormal. You just simply have to be in a field of consistent negativity from within. So your mind, your emotions, your frequency that you give out. It's like walking into a room and you can always spot somebody that's really dark and black. They're like a void in space, like a black hole. You can just sense their energy and you're like, oh, no, I'm not going near you. Thank you very much. Hello. Nice to meet you. Don't touch me. No, can't. Got eczema on my hands. Can't shake hands. You just don't want any contact with them. You can just sense it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about the paranormal is really an umbrella term for dealing with something that is not of this world.
Right.
I think we can agree on that because quite often, and we've had this conversation, Rob, about terminology, and I've had this on for a long, long time now. What we think is paranormal is not necessarily a negative thing.
Right.
Communication can be a positive as well, and I do include as a tool something that a lot of people have been programmed to think that it's a negative and it's it's an evil satanic thing, but a Ouija board. It's just a communication tool. There's nothing negative about it unless you invite it.
Right. And that's what I try to educate people on,
Mm.
because it's so funny. Here in the States, you'll see people using a ghost box, but they'll tell you that if you bring out a Ouija board, they're like, "Oh my god, that's so evil! Get away from me!" And I'm like, "Okay, but here's the thing: we're both trying to communicate with spirit, right? I don't use a Ouija board. I've never had any luck with the Ouija board, but I'm just saying I've had one in my bag."
Yeah.
And somebody said, "Who has a Ouija board?" And I said, "Oh, I have one in my bag." So I pulled it out, and people were just like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you brought that!" Blah blah. And I'm like, "Okay, but you're using a ghost box,
Yeah, they're
and this
all
person
portals.
you want to use this person wants to use a Ouija board. What's the difference?" "Oh, there's a big difference. That's evil." And I said, "Well, wait a minute, but a ghost box, we're going to try to communicate with spirit. What's the difference between using a ghost box and using that?" And I said, Hollywood is what made a Ouija board bad.
Oh
It
yeah.
was Hollywood that did it, not nothing else, nothing more. Um, so if you talk to a priest, you talk to a preacher, and you talk about contacting spirit, they will tell you, "Well, you're trying to communicate with the devil." I mean, doesn't matter. You're trying to communicate with spirit. Doesn't matter how you're doing it. You're communicating with, it's evil. You shouldn't be doing that. It talks in the Bible that, and it's
So,
Yeah.
just like, oh my God.
Like cut and paste book.
Right. Exactly.
yeah.
So,
Let, yeah, let us know how can I just
no, go ahead.
quick switch gears for a second? I just want to give a shout out and a big hug and a kiss to the mighty Kanga.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Hey, Kanga.
Well, honey.
Hope all is
We
well.
should have. You could have had you on here too, Kanga. It would have been a real Australiana then.
Yes. Come on up, baby.
You
I
Your
know,
voice was
I'm a I don't know.
the voice of reason.
you know what's really funny is that, like, in my natal birth chart, right, it says that I should never communicate with the dead, right? And yet my whole life I've been doing it. So I've always sort of like lived on that edge like thing. But, I have been very freaking naive with my, like, because I have a little bit of an attraction to that like dark side, right? And and so I have never used protection or any of that sort of stuff. Again, it's like my laziness thing, but I used to use a Ouija board when I was younger. It was the first sort of tool that I had, and we had this like same entity, and this thing we used to like freaking give it shit, like because we were stupid, right? But like this one night we got off the board, and I didn't know anything about closing boards down or anything like that. I was just 18.
right.
Anyway, I we got off the board one night, and I was living in Darwin with these like group of people and stuff, and I walked into my room, and I just sort of like got into my room, and I had a ceiling fan. It just started speeding up like it was about to like lift, like freaking take off out of the ceiling, and I just got thrown across the room onto the bed, and then just like pinned down on the bed, and like and I just couldn't move, right? And then it just released, and I just like sat up on the end of the bed, and I was like, "What the fuck just happened then?" Right? And like next thing, the ceiling fan just like freaking sped up again, and like I just felt something fill the room, and I was thrown backwards again, like against the thing. So anyway, like we all came rushing out of our rooms, and like a couple that I was with in the house, like it went into their room first itself, and like so Peter was saying that something just pressed his eyelids down and was just shouting in his ear, "You witches, you witches, you witches," like this, right? My sister got like freaking lifted off the ground and spun around in the air and thrown back down onto the like freaking floor. It was so that thing, that Ouija board, went out in the backyard, and I buried it under these like freaking Chinese people's house, like freaking the next door. But
One
anyway,
thing you never do with a Ouija board is bury it, my darling. Just a tip for
well,
anybody in general. You never bury them.
hindsight hindsight is a wonderful thing. I didn't know
Oh
that at
no,
the
don't.
time, but anyway.
Yeah, just a tip. Wow,
Yeah,
wow.
it's I don't know. It's just funny, just with anything. I mean, it's just like using tarot cards. I mean, the list goes on. You can use so many different tools. But shadow
Yeah,
work is shadow work. And
Mm.
yeah,
that's something that I can't
it's
wait.
important.
I kind of brought it up a little bit. So, and this is
Good
part two.
segue.
This is part two. So we want to also start introducing some type of shadow work to the show. Not only ghost box sessions, not only communicating with higher beings, we also want to start doing some type of shadow work.
Start at the
Um,
basics.
yeah, yeah. Because like I said, the spirit communication is so broad. I don't want to just stick with doing ghost box sessions because it just starts getting really tedious.
Yeah,
And how are we going to grow as a group if we just concentrate on one thing?
because we're
Is
not engaging our consciousness intention enough if we're just listening to like a box coming through, right? So
exactly.
that is a vital key, is consciousness, with directed with intent. So we've got to like start from the basics, I think, and work together as a group to go through a whole meditative process,
Yep.
Absolutely.
prior to doing like the communication, so that we can actually go somewhere than just listening to the stuff coming through. Like we want to direct it, we want to evolve with it, don't we?
Right. Yep. So this is why we're kind of creating this group. This is why this is what I've been talking to. Some exciting things are coming because we collectively now as a group, the foundation of the group is now here. So we want to take different ideas on different things that people may want to incorporate into the shows. Wednesday show will probably be derived into more of a shadow work type of show. We might change up the themes like every other week or something. But I think we're gonna have a Zoom meeting on Friday, like just a Zoom chat on Friday. And I think this is where we're gonna do some brainstorming and kind of
Get a
have some of
workable system.
um
Yeah, we have to all agree on a methodology to go forward, because
right,
there's no point in talking about intention to reach out to something higher
right.
Yeah, because the thing
until
is, we
we
need to.
get, as Carl said, get
Vibration.
these basic fundamentals right. And it's not only just for this type of work. You will feel the change in the energy. There'll be a twofold process. You'll feel the change in the energy from two perspectives. The more you clear negativity out of your mind, your mouth, your words, the choices that you make.
No potty mouth.
Oh, well, that cuts me right out. All right.
You're going to be like
Fudge.
leading us in this like bloody shadow work. So you're going to clear your potty mouth first, then.
Yeah, and I got to clear out my a couple of words out of my vocabulary.
Yeah, me too. Maybe not cut them out completely, but certainly tame them down. But one thing that I can speak from experience on is that when I went down this pathway about 25 odd years ago, it upended my
Sorry.
world in multiple ways at various periods. It's not for the faint-hearted. I have to be honest here. For those that truly do the work and lift that negativity and darkness and hatred and envy, greed, selfishness, there's a plethora. You get possibly where I'm going. I don't have to treat you like two little idiots, and the fam as well. The more you do that work, you will notice that your energy will shift, and it will become lighter, and there will be events that will happen to you from within that it's your old negativity of who you think you are and what you're all about as a person, as an individual, on how you think, how you speak, how you act, and the energy you throw off and put out. It will change because your body, your cellular memory has gotten used to the negative, and that's how it projects itself. When you start down this pathway, you will notice changes, and that is it's like cracks. It starts off like little shifts. You'll think, oh, gee, normally I would have blah about that situation, but now I'm like, really, does it matter? With everything else that's going on in the world, is really big and mattering? Choices are no. Therefore, your cellular memory will hang on to these negative patterns that you've developed, and that's how far you've got to go down. You've got to go to the cellular memory and retrain and reprogram completely everything.
So, with that said, Deb, here's something that I haven't really shared. So, I did a complete, um, I guess, I had to work on myself. So, there was a lot of negative things that um, I had to deal with. A lot of it was self esteem issues, insecurities. That's where it all started.
Mm.
So what I started was um, where I started was losing weight. Once I started doing that, also at that same time, I was also working on issues that I had. I had some major jealousy issues. I had some major insecurity issues that led to my insecurities also led to jealousy. My insecurities also um, yeah, just led to some other things, like just some real negative thoughts that were always coming into my mind. So basically, when I started doing that, I started working on those other issues. Um, just there was a lot of false insecurities that were just happening. So with all of that being said, once I started noticing that, wow, I don't feel jealous when, when somebody's doing something and with somebody else, that jealousy isn't there anymore. So it took a lot of work. It took a lot of discipline. It just took a lot. Anytime I felt insecure, I would start texting constantly to somebody basically, and then I would push somebody away because I was texting them all the time, just because it was my insecurities and my jealousy were kicking in. So I have noticed that I don't do that anymore. So there
Mm.
was a lot of things that I had to work on. Once I did that, there was a shift. I think that's when my full awakening happened, because there was a lot of doubt. There was a lot of doubt with me opening up to myself being with all of my abilities. So all of my abilities couldn't really come to fruition until I worked on myself, my inner self. Once I worked on my inner self and I resolved a lot of the issues that I was dealing with, all of a sudden things started opening up. I started opening myself up. And then all of a sudden I had my full awakening and I was like, what the hell just happened? And it's
Yeah,
it's a great feeling. It's a great
it
feeling.
is.
And that's why, I share um, everything that I've experienced with everybody. With everything that I'm saying. I mean, with this whole group, with everything. It's just
Mm.
because I care about everybody here and I want to share and help everybody else grow. And
Yeah,
that's why we've been putting this all together. Carl's been a great inspiration to me. He's kind of lit a fire under my ass for some of the things that I never wanted to work on, but Carl's been a great inspiration to me. Deb's been a great inspiration to me. Lindsay's been a great inspiration to me. uh Kevin, Lisa, I could keep on naming names that just kept me going. I mean, there's been times when I just wanted to shut everything down, but then once I worked everything else out, I just, it just, I said, I can't stop. I mean, we're brought together for a reason. And
Yeah,
here we are.
because I think the
well,
thing
yeah,
is
I say you can thank. Yeah,
Yeah. And that's all thanks to Kanga. And Kanga, the reason why, I called you out the other night, Saturday night, was I was the same way. There was a lot of things that, I was very doubtful of. And that's why I wanted to reach out to you. And I brought you up by name because I've been there and I see that you do have abilities. I do see that you have a lot. It's just it's going to take time. Just believe in the process.
and it's weird with Kanga because you just by reading her comments or whatever, she's just got this great vibe, hasn't she?
Oh my god,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah, she
yeah,
does.
absolutely.
And I think the thing is, right, for me, am I echoing?
No, you're good.
No, I can't.
Is that
Am I echoing? Because I feel like I'm getting a feedback loop.
yeah, I'm a little bit. So I am feeling because I've always felt like I needed to fix myself, right? Just in the state of brokenness, right? And
Right.
so I'm just learning about all this stuff myself, like shadow work. Again, like when I was talking to Deb, it's just something that I just sort of like came across recently because as I said to Deb the other day, when I dream, right, so many nights, like freaking more nights than not, I will wake up like in an argument, like after having had some massive argument with somebody in my dreams, right? And so, like, when I do divinations and that, and I always get this thing that I have to release all my anger and rage, right? So I've always
Yeah,
felt that I'm quite a like placid person, but I think it's because I've pressed all that shit down. You know what I mean? So if we can work as a group with this shadow work stuff like that, it will inspire me because I know I definitely need it.
well, anger was one of my big issues that I had to deal with, and it's taken virtually a lifetime. But I'm going to share something that I don't think even Kanga knows this or hasn't heard it from me directly. So I'm going to share something here tonight that's a very raw issue, but it's healed to the point where it's now a positive. And I take it in a completely different context to when I was little. But I'm a survivor of childhood sexual abuse and physical violence.
Mhm.
And so you talk about anger, Carl. I was a fistful of dynamite walking around from the age of like 6 or 7. And when I hit my teens and you're full of hormones and, I was one angry little puppy. Somebody would look at me sideways and I'd just start hitting them. Didn't ask questions.
Right.
Because I learned self-defense and other things. So anger was it's taken me a long time. It still flies from time to time, but nowhere near as destructive. It's okay to get angry at certain situations, like if you hit your thumb with a hammer or something. Oh, shit. You're really, it's fleeting.
Right.
My anger, I'm not as reactive as what I used to be. Nowhere near it. And I've started that work in my late 20s. But yeah, I was through my teens and 20s, even into my early 30s, but not as much. I started working on it in my 20s. I really stopped all of that nonsense, and my life got better, and the heaviness and the weight started to ease. And it was in my 40s that I finally said out loud to the universe, I forgive my father, because everything that has happened in my life happened for a reason.
Right.
Yeah.
And when I was old enough, without understanding or a way to articulate it, I bought a punching bag. I started working out at the gym. I started focusing that energy. So I was a pocket rocket.
Yeah.
Party all night and go to work, and I was a nurse. So, I'd be 3 parts cut and left the pub up at King's Cross about 4 o'clock in the morning, and here they are handing over the drug keys for the day at 6 o'clock. So, go back to the nursing home and have a shower and a few coffees and show up for work. And so there is a lot of alcohol abuse that was in it, particularly through my 20s, man. That's why I don't drink now. Been there, done that. Got the T-shirt, wrote the book, got the scars.
God, this is
I've
so.
actually got a burn here, a cigarette burn, to this day, and it happened 24, 25. I still don't know how I got it.
Yeah, I have huge memory blocks. Like when I had this thing with a psychologist, like I can rediscovered there's just years and years where they're just gone. There's no thing. And like someone showed me a video that I was in at my job, and I'm like, who's that? And they're going, it's you. And I was looking at it and I was like, that's not me, is it? And everyone's going, yeah, it's you, Carl. And I couldn't literally even recognize myself. And
Wow.
the thing is that I just think, and then I just have this empathy because what was done to me was done to me by broken people also,
Correct.
and so and I think, one of the things I'm trying to learn is that thing of being authentic, because we judge all this stuff as like good or bad. But the thing is that if we don't go, okay, well, I'm feeling this feeling and it's a response to whatever, and just let ourselves feel it so
Yeah.
that we stop continuing to press this stuff down into the subconscious mind and making it our shadow, But, the thing is another thing is as well, people as well, they try and take it away from you. And it's like, if you're feeling like crap, whatever, of course, you don't want to inflict it on other people. I like to take myself away, right?
Right.
But the thing is that so many people will just jump in there to like, oh, it's okay, that. And it's like, no, it's not okay. Don't let me, let me feel this feeling because I've got to release the energy,
Right.
you know? Like,
Right.
and I know it's a hard thing because people want to help, but the thing is sometimes that your help,
Well, I don't really. Let's be honest.
One thing that has really changed my life really is learning about the Buddhist law of non-interference.
Yep.
And that is such a powerful thing because you can derail people's whole evolution by taking away their trauma.
Mm.
Or trying to make it better for them, because the thing is that it's not like having an easy life that led me down this path of searching within, because if if I was like actually like freaking, not like going through all the stuff that made me just so socially awkward and bloody inhibited, I'd be like putting myself out there, like all my friends, and just like freaking living that life, right? But I never would have actually like developed any depth,
Right.
And so we then like need to be thankful for that trauma.
Yeah.
It's actually like freaking, it's all pieces of the puzzle that were just vital for us to actually have to overcome.
Yeah. And here's another funny thing, Deb. I went through the same thing when I was, when I
Yeah.
grew up. I suffered from abuse. Um, and the funny thing is, it made me who I am today. Um, I,
Agree.
I think that that's why I'm so loving and caring, and why I care about people so much is because,
Mm.
and I suffer from abandonment issues also because I was,
Oh, yeah.
left alone. So, all of that pain and everything that I went through as a kid, and as a young adult, or I would say a teen, um, because that's when it was the worst. It just made me a stronger person today and a more caring and loving person. And that's why I think I try to help people more. I care about everybody that I'm around. All my friends know that I'm very loving and caring. And I'll give my shirt literally off my back to a homeless person. Um,
I've done it.
yeah, and I mean I've done it. Where
Been at the grocery store, and somebody, you can see they're struggling, probably a single mum, she's got a couple of kids, and she comes up short in her groceries. I'll pay for the lot, so keep your money, darling, because I was in a position to help at the time.
right, right.
So I know exactly where you're going and what you're saying, and it's true. I don't know how Rob feels on this, or Carl. I can't speak for them, and I would never insult either one of them by doing so. But I will say this: I certainly don't feel like a victim. So I'd really hate for anybody to treat me that way. I'm not a victim.
I don't
No,
feel like
no.
a victim. I know that it's
I've
created
survived
some
and I've thrived.
yeah, it's created some issues that I'm trying to work on. But it's not like I'm blaming anybody for it.
Yeah.
I was a little angry. For a while I was a little angry, but I wouldn't take my aggressions out on anybody. I would just, like what Carl said, I would push them all down, and that was the worst thing that I've done. So now I have to just, going to therapy and trying to work all that stuff out. I know that there's two issues that I have to work on. And actually I'm going through therapy now. So starting on Friday. So, um,
Well done.
I know what my issues are and the couple of things that I have to work on. Um,
If we didn't have all these issues, right? If we did not actually recognize in ourselves our state of brokenness, because to me, it's like, nothing actually like freaking like, makes me cringe more than people that I know that are just as broken as I am, but will get so judgy about the actions of other people. And it's like, we've all done that shit,
yeah,
right? And the thing is that like, when you like realize that, we're not all just one thing. People like to
No.
focus on the negative. Oh, well, this person's that, and it's like, well, they're not only just that, you know, but like, I think, just to we're all in this like thing. It's a symptom of the planet, right? We're all part of a process, right? And we're
right.
all doing it together, And so, you know, it's good. We should actually just accept our brokenness as and other people's as well, and not judge each other.
No, but you know what? And this is what I tell people all the time. Like, you know, I was just telling somebody that I'm close with, oh, you shouldn't do this or you shouldn't do that. And but I recognized myself doing that. And then I said, wait a minute, who am I to even say that to this person?
Yeah.
I can't control, I've been there, I've done that. So wait,
Yeah.
I need to back up. And,
Yeah.
I have to be more, I guess, supportive. If they want to do something and they want to stop doing whatever they're doing, then I have to be more supportive. I shouldn't be, criticizing for them, because what are they going to do? They're going to rebel. Instead, if you give them support, then they're going to be, wait a minute. maybe I shouldn't be doing this. And they're going to start backing off because I've been there. I had a drinking problem. I
Yeah,
recognized my drinking problem when I was 24.
yeah.
Yes.
I didn't drink for 4 years. And
And if
then
we are to accept the thing of Indra's web sort of like vibe, where we all actually reflect each other back at ourselves, then it's like, well, then when you start to actually look at things and go, okay, well, this person's doing this and it's really upsetting me. So actually, this is showing me myself, not them.
Mhm,
You
exactly.
know,
And that's
and
once you sort of getting back onto the topic of why we're talking about this sort of work, is this is the exact sort of work you need to start doing to clear the darkness within you, and it comes under the heading of shadow work. This is
yeah.
the stuff you need to deal with
Right.
to get the balance in your life, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually.
And I think that's why we're bringing all these things up, because
Absolutely.
we have to deal with our issues first before we
Yep.
can open up to something else. Um, and
Yep.
that's why I'm always open with the things that I have experienced, things in within me that I am working on. And like I
Mm.
said, I mean, with me not able to work on the things that I did, with my insecurities about my weight, with the insecurities of about, jealousy, all my other insecurities that I was going through, I had to address all of that stuff before I could even finish my spiritual journey. Once I did all of that, I didn't even have to do anything. It was just like boom, it just like opened up and I was like, "Holy crap, what's all this?"
It was like a
So
1,000 ton weight coming off, and you feel it. You literally
Yeah,
feel it
you
when it
literally
happens.
feel it.
yeah.
There's
So
just no mistaking
ultimately,
it. Once you
and
you felt
ultimately,
that
we're not these.
moment, and you know that you've done the work over the course of your life, I can remember it still. I remember it as clear now as if it had happened yesterday. I can tell you where I was, what I was wearing, everything. It was just, and it was the day that I just offered it up to the universe. I said, I forgive you. I forgive you, Dad, for all the violence against Mum. I forgive you for, and I named everything. And I said, but that's not who I am now. And it's not who I will be going in the future. I know
Right.
who I am. I've looked in the mirror and I've pushed through the fog and the darkness and the ugly. And I've come out the other side and I'm a better person for it. And that has nothing to do with you, but that's all about me. And that's
And
where your
ultimately,
confidence and your self belief comes in.
yeah, but ultimately, I think also is to reach that state where, like, because everything, it's like that whole Zen thing, isn't it? Because it's all actually a false sense of self.
Hmm.
Because,
Yep.
like, what we actually are, like, even when I was listening to that Elena Danan, and she was going, oh, well, some of these entities don't have a name. They don't identify themselves as a name. And
Right.
one of the things that they are saying that's important to be able to communicate with them, to sort of like elevate our frequency to communicate with them, is that we have to drop our identifying ourselves as Carl Sturgis, and I'm this person,
Mm.
because ultimately that's not the reality of what we are. We're transcendent of that. And so, like, I guess we need to clear this to transcend it, but not just make ourselves a better person, but to transcend that like belief that we're a person at all.
Right. Right.
Great
You know,
word,
that,
transcendence. It's exactly what it is.
Yep.
So now that we've talked about some shadow work and the issues that we've all fought through and where we've come out to be, what else did you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, I
Energy, frequency, chakras. You're the bomb on chakras, Rob.
with me, no, I mean, I've just started learning a little bit about that. I mean, I I know that I do communicate a lot. I do, open up my chakras and stay positive and draw in that energy. And that's basically how I communicate with spirit. I just feel like I put my energy out there and I open myself up like, hey, and people would always freak out. Anytime we'd go to investigations, I would say, use my energy, use me as a conduit. I'm here. You can use me to communicate through. But I
Sorry.
was protecting myself very, very heavy and deep. That's just how, and it was all, there was no negativity, no fear. Um, and I would be able to communicate with people. I mean, the EVPs that I would capture, it was mind blowing. People were like, how are you getting all this communication? We would set up like 5 different recorders in a line. We would all play them back. Mine was the only one that had any responses. And people are like, how are you doing that? And it didn't matter what type of recorder I was using. And then I said, well, it's because I'm opening up myself. I'm setting that intention out there to communicate with somebody, and this is what's happening. I'm getting back that return. Maybe they didn't have that energy that they wanted to communicate, or that, they just didn't feel like they wanted to communicate with that person. But I would just open myself up, and I was a conduit. And that's, I
Yeah.
think, why we get such great communication here, is because I do that. Now, last night, here's something, and this is what we talk about all the time. You can't always guarantee that you're going to get responses. So we did some sessions last night, maybe for a couple of hours. We didn't get anything. I mean, nothing coming through. But that's just how it was last night. Maybe my intention wasn't there. Maybe just my mindset wasn't there. I don't know what it was, but we got nothing.
Two points out of that to pick up. One, we've all agreed in our conversations off camera, off show,
Right.
is that you are
Right.
you are the channel that brings it all together,
Right.
and you've got really great control of that. And the second one is it. It's very, very true. It doesn't matter who you are, what you do. You can be getting responses every week, and then there'll be that one time. If they've got nothing to say, they've got nothing to say,
Right.
and you can't force these things.
No.
Now, I really get frustrated, and it reminded me of 2 points that we've all individually and collectively giggled about, as how you find, I don't want to call them paranormal hunters, because they're not paranormal anything. They're show people.
Right.
But they've always got to wear black, and the first thing they scream out is demon, demon. Oh my Lord.
Mm.
Give me a break. That word puts terror into anybody because it's got such a connotation behind it, and it's programming. There's no validity to any of that, and that's why I'm always pushing about, choose your words wisely when you speak them out into the world, because it's not a negative. It's not a demon.
Right.
You've been trained and raised in a religion or a church or whatever to assume that if anything is negative in your life, that it's the devil. Well, I got to tell you, he don't exist.
No.
The
Not the
chimes
way
are
you
coming.
think he does.
So Deb has wind chimes at her home. So, and they're
Yes, I do. You want me to take them down?
no.
No, it's all good. They
Hear
create
my
ambient
They
space.
cleanse the house.
Yeah. They're amazing. They're amazing.
Yeah,
They
one
They're
of the most.
my big cathedral ones.
they almost sound like a singing bowl at times.
I love singing bowls. Oh, I love them.
Yeah.
They're going to start hearing
They just
voices
rock
in
my
Oh,
them soon.
world.
And you probably can. I mean, some people are in tune with that, and they probably will hear voices in the chimes.
So
I find them
really,
cleansing and calming.
if
My
we like,
chimes and music bowls. Oh, they're just the best. But that's just my attunement. I mean, as I've raised the issue before in many times in chat and in our talks, is that I use the frequency 369 to tune my mind and body and everything else, and my energy and frequency to that with everything that I do in the house. Everything is a volume of 369. Everything that I do is in 3, 6, or 9. And I've been doing that for well over 10 years.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So you can get a frequency generator on there's a lot of frequency generator apps out there, and they're free. So if you want to tune your inner frequency, and you'll play around with it, and you'll find something that's comfortable within yourself, that's kind of where your body frequency is set to. And you have to play around with it, and you'll find that
So,
frequency that tunes in with you. Go ahead.
so
True.
Rob, when I sent you that file, right, that had all those frequency things for the solfeggio
Right.
tones, right? I know that the dialogue was a bit complicated. Am I echoing?
No, you're fine.
Okay. But if you combine those things together, you can actually create a specific like portals and stuff like that by, you know, and it's all linked to the numerology, obviously, as you can see that, you know.
Right.
Now you're going into my territory, mathematics. Woohoo!
Yeah. But anyway,
Bring
what
it
I was
on.
just going to say quickly was that there's so many like things like, because it's not just shadow work, it's also energy work, right? And
Right.
then it's like being able to enter into a meditative state, either using binaurals or whatever, and directing that with intention, like for our contact. So really, it's actually like a process, like it's a big process, right? That we're going to have to refine down into a like workable system that we can sit each week and do. Right.
Yeah.
So this is why, like, because the thing is that we're going to have to do it sort of in a timely fashion. So otherwise, we could like convolute into a very long process.
Oh yeah. For those of you that
Even my house number is a 3. I wouldn't purchase anything that with the numbers combined in that up to 3, 6, or 9. And when I purchased this house 2 years ago, or Janet and I purchased this house, I apologise. The 3 was one of the big tick boxes for me. The numbers had to add up to a 3, 6, or a 9, and this one was a 3 on its own, and that's a really good number.
Yeah, that's funny. My address is 1234.
True.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
that's easy to remember.
Yeah. So
That's a 1.
But it equals a 1.
I'm a 7. 52.
I'm a 1.
So
First 50 up.
But yeah, so if anybody wants to join our private group, I'm posting up the link again, and we will be doing a Zoom session on Friday. So I sent out an invite to everybody in the group that wanted to be part of the Zoom. So if you want to be part of that too, join the private group, and you could put in your email there. Just address it to me, and I'll get you added to I'll get you added to that. I know Ian.
So,
Somebody said that. Yeah, I know that you sent in a request. I haven't looked at them yet because I'm doing the show. I usually do them like after or tomorrow. So, you're welcome, Amy. But no, this has been a lot of fun, and this is just like I said. This is just the beginning. There's more stuff coming. There's so much more coming. But Deb, go ahead. What else did you want to talk about shadow work?
Well, we've sort of flogged that one for now, topic-wise. Let it sink in with everybody. But if anyone's got a particular question, fire it in, please, because I can't see the chat. The other thing that I was saying is with those frequency, with those numbers, because I've been doing it for so long now, that every house that I've inhabited, Janet and I've been together for 18 years, the vibration is there in the house. People walk into the house and they go, oh, this is so peaceful. This is so this. And it's because of the intent and the energy that we flow individually and collectively.
Rob,
Yes, sir.
so I don't know who else, like whether Kevin's around or whatever like that, but what I was like thinking, I was talking to Deb about it a couple of days ago. So just as part of a like prelude or like freaking like thing to us starting this thing, I was thinking that because you can do your remote viewing thing, right? Like if you could like, do maybe a remote viewing session with like whoever else on there is actually good at it. I mean, I've never remote viewed, so I couldn't put myself out there, because, like, if you could try and do a remote viewing session to where this Galactic Federation of Worlds is supposed to be parked, and see what you can actually see.
I know somebody that has done it.
Right.
Yeah, that's why I got to talk to her. I got to see if she'll be willing to share. She told me a story that she has not shared with anybody outside of her family. And she opened up and told me. So I got to see if she'd be willing to talk about it, because I think um what she has to say, you guys will be mind blown.
That's an ethical way to go forward, is to get the person's permission to share that. I applaud that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
bring it on.
I don't just share anything. I mean, anything that is told to me is, is in pure, confidence, and I will not share it unless I ask. That's why I asked Carl today when I brought him on, hey, do you mind sharing that story about his dad? That way people would know the background of what got him, into using his brother to help with the communication.
Did he tell you about what he did the other night with his brother?
With the radionics machine, Deb?
Yeah, mate. Did you share that?
Yeah. So I did. And, like, I just have to
That was
say,
mind blowing.
right, the symbolic radionics machines that you can get, and you can just find them on Google Images, right? And you
Right.
can just download them, print them off. It's just a paper schematic of a radionics box, right? So it was all scientifically, like, investigated, this stuff. And for some reason, you didn't need this expensive electronic radionics device, because just the picture of the schematics works just as well, right? I've handed out, like, copies of that symbolic radionics device to people who have used it for healing and all sorts of things, and it has worked every single time, right? You just need to turn the little dial, create a dial. Anyway, for healing, or whether, so I did it to actually strengthen the field of, like, between me and my brother on the astral, and it was there. It was clear. Like, when I shut my eyes, I didn't even have to try and project myself anywhere or anything like that. It was like it was just encompassed in where he was. Anyway, like, I when I got infiltrated by these astral beings, and that were, like, freaking plaguing my life and stuff like that, I just had this, like, thing to use the radionics device, whatever. And as soon as I set that dial, they were gone. They've never been able to come back. And that spirit fillet that comes through was one of them. And so now when I turn on the device, it's like, Carl, let us in, because they can't come in here anymore, right?
Right.
So I really, like, think that the radionics, like, when we do the whole process of this communication or whatever, like, because only one person really needs to set up one of these things, because it doesn't matter where you are, right?
Right.
Um,
So, Kanga, to answer your question, so remote viewing is basically you're traveling outside of your body and viewing a location, physically viewing a location. Now, there used to be somebody that would frequent our show, who actually was one of their relatives was missing. Um, so I told her to call me after the show. She did, and I helped locate where he was or who he was with. They called me up the next day and they said, "Wow, yeah, they were at that location where you said that they were, but they were he was actually with another person." So, but yeah, I was right. So they knew after I told them that who they were looking for. So they were able to locate him, and they got a phone call from him. So, and I basically after I went outside of my body, and I said, okay, well, there's an area that's covered in trees. There's like a river behind it, and I see a trailer, blah blah. And they were like, "Oh my god, you just described so and so's house where the so and so lives." So they
Wow.
knew exactly where to look. So yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Impressive. Speaking of sort of woo-woo moments, I had a really funky thing happen this morning. I woke up about 4:30, and I went to get out of bed, and it was like a jolt. I must have been astro traveling, and the jolt of trying to I almost had a faint. I almost fainted this morning, and I never faint. I mean, I literally never faint. I've worked in orthopedic theatre. You see bones and skin and blood, and God, it's ugly. And nothing phases me. I don't get nauseous or anything. But this morning, I honestly thought I was going to faint for the first time in my life. I must have moved too quick to get out of bed because I don't feel like I was back in my body in time, and it's taken hours to get that balance back in. I can't explain it.
Yeah.
It was just a really funky feeling, and I still feel very like I must have been way into it.
It was almost like you had vertigo.
Yes.
You crash landed, Deb. Your astral body crash landed.
Yeah. I don't know where I was. It all happens. The movement of getting it was sudden, because as far as I knew, I was in a deep sleep. Mm-hmm. And I went to get up and use my body, and my body just wasn't there to be used to get up to go to the bathroom. It was just, it was off doing its own thing.
Yeah, I've done that. That's how I knew what you were experiencing. It feels like vertigo, and you wake up and you're like, what the hell? And you almost feel like, like you're not there.
I was holding the door of the wall, looking around for everything, like, where am I?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
It was the most bizarre thing, and I haven't had that ever, because I've always managed to focus to get back into my body.
And you were very nauseated.
Oh,
yeah. See,
that was one of the reasons why I shoot over to the chemist to get some of Janet's Stematol tablets to stop the nausea.
Yeah. Yep.
It wasn't one end; it was the other. It was just not that everybody needs to know my evolutions.
No.
Yeah. Oh, that went too far. Sorry, cut. That.
No,
that
I can't. That's why
you can't unsay it. It's already in our brains now, Deb.
But Christina, so Christina, it is hard to control it. When you don't know how to control it, it just happens. It's weird when it just happens. But over time, once you know how to control it, and once you know what you're dealing with, then it comes to you over time. It takes a while. It's almost like practice.
Yeah.
All right, good night, Kevin.
Bye, Kevin.
See you, Kevin.
Why wasn't Kevin up here?
Yeah, we need to like.
You know what? We're gonna have a show on remote viewing, and I'll bring Kevin on.
Yeah.
I'll bring Kevin and you on again, Deb. And then we will talk about remote viewing. Like I said, there's a lot of things to come. This is just the beginning. This is why I wanted to kind of share this with everybody and just kind of get an idea on what we're working on, what's coming. Like I said, the show is starting to get, a little stagnant, to almost where I was starting to get burnt out. And I think a lot of people will start losing interest over time, just listening to Ghost Box sessions. It's just, it is what it is.
So we're still in the slight planning stage, but I was talking about it with Deb a couple of days ago. We actually really need to get a system organized and get it started, because otherwise we're going to be talking about it until the freaking cows come home.
No, we need to get it done. Right now, I just had to get some things done. I needed to get all the audio and everything else done before I can, because I was working through a lot of problems. There was so many difficulties that I didn't know where it was coming from. I don't know if location, I don't know what it is, but now we have it ironed out to where things are working now. So now it's time to move forward, and I'm so excited.
Yeah, me too.
Um, so there's a lot of theories about sleep paralysis. I might share some things on that. Um, there's a logical explanation behind it. Um,
Yeah.
what I found. I've been watching a lot of things about it, and there are a lot of explanations behind it. So,
It's
uh,
it's an important natural thing that happens so that you don't actually physically act out your dreams.
right,
But what can
Yes.
happen is that especially when you're very exhausted, sometimes you can lay down and your mind sort of waits, like sends out these trigger things to just check that your mind has gone to sleep before it actually releases the chemical that paralyzes your body, right? But sometimes if you're really exhausted or whatever like that, you're like literally like when you get to that thing when you lie down and your brain just like fucking goes into the hypnagogic stage instantly, right? Before your body's actually had tight, so your body falls asleep, sorry, and your mind is still left awake, but it's released that chemical that paralyzes it. And that state, accidentally, is the focus 10 state that the Monroe Institute teach. And from that state there, if you can sort of like not go into fear factor about it, is a good place to actually start like freaking shifting up the focus levels into a full out of body experience.
yeah. So
I just want
when
to raise one quick question. Purple's put in there about, and I've just looked at my iPad, that sleep paralysis is real. It is a real effect, but the underlying issues on how it happens are not necessarily paranormal or otherworldly.
right,
There are subconscious, very deep subconscious issues and psychology that goes into this.
right,
As Carl was rightfully just pointing out, there are a lot of chemical brain activities, chemicals and brain wave that go into it. It's a very deep subject, but it's not, no one's trying to say that it doesn't happen. What we're saying is that it's a topic that requires a lot of discussion on sharing knowledge on why it happens. And
right.
But
it's
if
not
I could
just,
just interject, if anyone can find themselves in that state and have a spirit box playing at the same time, right? You will find that when you actually transcend, like when you go into that state where your brain starts to transcend the body because it's lost signal from the body, that there is a whole other lot of dialogue coming through the spirit boxes, right? Like a continuous streams of dialogue, like
yep,
complex stuff. Just you know,
So when you fall asleep and then your body jolts. So what happens
yeah,
is that's what Carl was talking about. Your body falls asleep first, and your brain is still awake.
yeah,
So your brain thinks that you're dying, so it sends out
yeah,
an electrical pulse, and that's when your body jolts because it's reacting to the pulse that your brain is, or the electrical pulse that your brain is sending out, because it
yeah.
wants to make sure that you're not dead.
And we could be,
And yeah, and we could be, but that's even when you die, it still does that, but the body won't react because it's dead.
yeah.
and from a
So
nursing perspective, I can certainly confirm that bodies sitting up after they've makes you really want to think about
yeah.
religion.
So it does release a state of fear, right? It's just a
Yeah,
natural mental response. And if people can actually realize that it's not the woo-woo coming to get them, that it's
yeah,
just a natural thing that your body goes through, and just relax and don't try and move your body, right? Don't try and break it out of its paralysis, but keep your mind awake and let your body just be asleep, right? And then you'll find from that point, you can then freaking start to shift your brain upwards in the focus levels, and you can have amazing communication, like whether you want to go onto the astral or whether you want to contact higher aspects of your own greater reality and stuff. So the thing is that you might start to see some. It's just the opening up, because as soon as your brain stops receiving signals from the body, it then can actually start receiving them from like the greater perspective. And yeah, so just don't feel fear about it. It's good. It's good if you can have them.
Yeah. So, I mean, God, we just opened ourselves up to a lot of discussion for. I'm excited for Friday's Zoom session now. Now everybody can give us feedback on what they think. It's gonna give, like we said, we need to get this project going.
Yeah.
Um, we need to just get it kick started. I think this was a good start. So the I have to get the other. I think now what we should do is just go into our little chat, um, our our little chat that we created, and just start. Let's figure out a day and time to get started.
Yeah. Absolutely.
How has the chat room responded to today? I'm curious with the topics that we've raised.
Yeah, I mean, people have been talking, in the chats. It looks like it's a good response. I think a lot of people are excited that that we are such a close knit family
Yeah.
now, and I think that people are happy that they found us, and they're excited. It sounds like, I think that there's a lot of people that are really excited.
So as you said, we have to keep that momentum going.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We will.
Absolutely.
And yeah.
But like I said,
That's very great, Carl.
I think that there's some big things coming. It's just this has been a long time coming. I'm glad that we found the core group to get this whole thing going, and the only thing this is going to do is help everybody. Like we said, it's going to help everybody with their coming to their awakening, per se, or finding out what they want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, not everyone's going to want to travel this far,
No,
but it's worth the journey in the long run.
yeah,
Well,
I
I
think,
think it's becoming a do or die situation with the way that the world is going. Like we need to start like doing this, like even if we're just doing the shadow work and the energy work, right? Because our state of consciousness when we leave here is going to create the environment that we're going to go into when we leave here. So, I think it's very important that we
yeah,
keep our frequency high.
Absolutely, positively agree.
yeah. And like I said, I mean, this is, yeah, it's going to help with everything, with what's to come. It's going to help, open your, or help fix whatever you need to fix within yourself. I know that we're all trying to improve as people, as humans. So I
Yeah.
think that this is going to help out all that also. So trust me, I'm speaking from experience. I mean, I've had a lot of insecurities. I had a lot of issues that I was dealing with, and I think I've come a long way. I mean, and like I said, everything that I say is from experience.
Yeah.
Um, I just don't throw bullshit out there just to throw it out there. Um, because that's not me. I have to have something
Well,
to back it up.
we wouldn't be listening to you
You're
week
a
after week,
working
Rob, if we
library.
thought you were. Yeah. We're all broken, right? So we're just starting from bottom of the level, right? We're just all starting from the bottom rung. Just
No,
gonna go.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's going to be fun. But thank you guys for coming on tonight. I know
Yes.
it's getting late here, but it's still what, morning for you guys, right?
Uh,
Uh,
Lunch, I think, here in
about
WA. Oh,
about
10 to
quarter to
2
two in the
in the
afternoon.
afternoon,
Yeah.
Oh,
Thursday.
10 to 2. Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
you guys are about 8 hours ahead of us.
Correct.
Well, 8 hours in a day.
We're in the future, Rob. We're in the future, right? So we're talking back to you in the past.
We're
Yeah,
talking to you in the past.
yeah, you guys are a full
Uh,
day and 8 hours ahead.
yeah.
So, yeah, it was great having you guys on. Everybody that
Thank you
wants
for having us. Yeah.
on Friday.
Thank you.
Oh no, it was my pleasure. This was a long time coming. So, um, yeah, thank you everybody for joining. And all right, so you guys, I just put out the invite to the group again. And Carl, Deb, thank you for coming on.
Thank
And
Thank you for
you.
having me.
we'll see you guys on Friday. 8 o'clock.
Take care, everyone.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.